Good morning.
Good morning.
We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree? You are knowing what you are wanting? No. It moves about a bit. And really, that's a little bit of a trick question, because you only know what you are wanting in any moment in time relative to what's really going on around you, usually. In other words, if there's too much traffic, you know what you want. Relief from it, yes. If you are sitting on the Katy freeway and your average miles per hour is 0, you know what you want, don't you? If you are not feeling well, you know what you want. If someone is irritating you, you know what you want. So when we say, are you knowing what you are wanting? There is no real accurate answer to that from our human friend perspective, because you only know this one little piece of it that's highlighted right now that you're focused upon. It's really a snapshot in time, isn't it? But in all of that living of your life out here on this leading edge, in your physical time-space reality, as you're living your life and exploring the variety, sifting through the contrast, really, of knowing what you don't want, which helps you to identify what you do want, there is an amassing of those preferences or requests that is being held in a vibrational reality. We've been calling it your vortex of creation, or a vortex of attraction. Is a vortex where the vibrational rocket of desire has been received by the larger non-physical part of you and is being held. Now, we want to just briefly, we know you've, for the most part, heard this so many times you could speak it as well as we do to you. But we want to remind you that before you came into these bodies, that you were non-physical energy, and many of you have been accepting that for a long time. But even as a part of that consciousness is flowing into this physical body, the larger part of you still remains non-physically focused. So as you stand here in this physical body, exploring contrast and knowing what you don't want, and therefore in this moment knowing what you do want, and in this moment knowing what you do want, and some moments being more poignant than others, but knowing, because you can't stop deciphering, and you cannot stop perceiving, and you cannot stop preferring. That's really what we want to say to you. You cannot in any moment in time stop preferring. When you're too hot, you prefer to be cooler. When you're too cold, you prefer to be warmer. When you're confused, you prefer to have clarity. When you don't have enough money, you prefer to have more money. You just cannot turn that preference button off. So all of this focused preferencing that you're doing is causing you to emanate vibrationally these rockets of desire. You don't have to speak it out loud to yourself or to anyone or to the unknown masses. You're just emanating it vibrationally, and the source within you receives the vibrational request and becomes it. And so today, what we really want to emphasize, and we can feel you're up for it, what we really want to emphasize is the close proximity. It's so close that you could call it instant manifestation, although that freaks you out. The close proximity between the alignment that you achieve deliberately with your vortex and the manifestations that follow, or the not closeness with your vortex that you achieve and the manifestations that follow. We want to show you how whatever it is you're feeling is causing the manifestations to unfold. Now, sometimes you don't believe that because it feels like, oh, there's already people out there. There are already situations that have been created. I cannot create in the experience of another. But we want you to understand that you can evoke, you can elicit, you can rendezvous with. In fact, not just can you, but you do, with precisely in the moment how you're feeling in the moment, with precisely how you're doing, how you're feeling in the moment, with precisely how you're doing, how you're feeling in the moment. Now, friends, freak you out or not, that's instant manifestation. You can be observing something that's not so good, and maybe it's irritating you, maybe it's frightening you, maybe it's just frustration. It could be anywhere in that range of unwanted emotions, strong or not so strong. And as you focus there, you cause a vibration within you to reverberate in response to whatever it is that you're observing. You just let often that circumstance train you into a vibrational frequency. And then everything that happens to you now, this could take a while, now, reflects what you've got going on vibrationally. Now, what you've got going on vibrationally is always reflected to you by what you feel. But what happens to you so often is you become accustomed to feelings that are indicators of vibration that's going to reflect back to you more stuff that you really don't want so much. But you're hardy, we know. You take those classes, those stiff upper lip classes. You take those wrestle it to the ground and kill it classes. You take those life isn't supposed to be fair or fun classes. You take those I'm strong and I'm hardy and I can endure and I can persevere and life isn't supposed to be fun. And we say, yes, it is. It's supposed to be fun, not just now, but always. And what you're going to come to realize as you play with this more and more in a conscious, deliberate way is that it is oh so fun to witness something unwanted, maybe something really unwanted, because in the knowing of what you don't want, there is a bounce or the other end of that vibrational wavelength that knows exactly what you do want. And even though you can't maybe speak what you want because you're so embroiled in what you don't want, what you do want's bouncing out of you, bouncing out of you, bouncing out of you, because friends, you just got to know how obvious it is when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. In other words, that's that deciphering process, isn't it? And when you really don't want it, you really do want something else. And when you sort of don't want it, you sort of don't want something else. But this process helps you to define whether you can speak it or not. So this defining, this preferring, this giving birth to new intentions, it's the evolution of all species. It's the evolution of the cellular species. It's the evolution of the human species. It's the evolution of everything, is this energy or vibration that bounces from someone, whether you're a one-celled organism or whether you're a full-fledged genius human, focusing and identifying, whether consciously or whether vibrationally, identifying what it is you prefer. Evolution, expanding, becoming. But most humans are really slow on the trigger to go along with what they have birthed. Your inner being isn't. In other words, you were source energy before you came into this physical body, and only a part of that consciousness, a really rather small, we will not say insignificant, but it is part of you. In other words, the larger part of you remains non-physical. Here you are, physically focused, this wonderful personality that is you, sifting through and preferring, expanding, becoming, asking, whether you put words to it or not. Someone's rude, you want nicer people around you. If you're sick, you want to be well. If you're really sick, you really want to be well. If you don't have enough money, you want money. All day, every day, bounce. And the source within you, becoming, because every time you say, I'd like that, source who holds no resistance, your inner being who holds no resistance, becomes what you've asked for, vibrationally speaking. Now, that doesn't ring your bells very much because you're into manifestation, and it's okay. That's why you're here in these flesh, blood, and bony bodies. You have come for manifestations. You've come to this leading edge because, to line up and manifest, it just doesn't get any better than that. This is not catching up time. This is leading edge time. You're not here to prove worthiness through your manifesting. You're here to prove creation through your manifesting. In other words, you're here to create through manifestation. So we know it's annoying. Focused on the emotion and the rest will follow, but don't worry about what's following, because if you worry about what's following, then you mess up the emotion. So just focus upon the emotion and the rest will follow, but don't worry about what's following, because when you worry about what's following, then you mess up the emotion and it doesn't follow. So just focus on the emotion and the rest will follow, but don't worry about what's following, because if you focus on what's following, if you get this, So often, for years, we have said, as we begin here, are you enjoying the freshness of that new desire? Do you remember when your desires felt fresh? Do you remember that feeling of getting an idea and just the idea of it just made you feel good for a moment? Well, that's the feeling we want you to hold, because as you maintain that, then everything fills in around it. But when that feeling of freshness is muted by your logic, by your awareness, by your comparison, by your taking score, by your measuring yourself with everybody else, by your measuring yourself with your own past experience, when you're measuring the filling in part, we really jumped right into this, didn't we? We've got you right out here on the leading edge. In other words, we are right out on the leading edge of creation with you, and here you are right here with us. Nice to meet you here. Do you believe that the emotion that you feel, that the emotion is more general or more specific than the filled in version? In other words, do you believe that the emotion that you feel when you think about the security of a new car or the fun of a new car, do you think that that emotion is more general or more specific than the leather seats, the torque of the engine, the fact that you no longer need a key, the incredible color that has been created that almost defies anybody's ability to translate color in cars? Have you seen the color of that car? Do you think that the emotion is more general or more specific? It is. It's general. And do you think that it's possible for you to find a general feeling? Do you think it's possible for you to find a general feeling of something without the specifics? This is the key. This is the missing piece that you've been looking for. Because if you can figure out how to induce within yourself, by the sheer focus of your mind, upon the emotional properties of these things that you want, of these relationships that you want, of these recoveries that you want, of anything that you want, if you can isolate within yourself the emotional simplicity, then you will manage to put yourself in vibrational sync with your desire. And when you put yourself in vibrational alignment with your desire, the rest of it just follows. It's law. We've enjoyed this interaction more than words can convey. It's a very satisfying experience to stand inside your vortex in full awareness and recognition of all that you are, and then to watch you deliberately join that vibration. Way more fun than waiting for you to croak to do it. Although it's good in any case. It has been our desire to convey to you here today the ease that's available to you that you haven't been tapping into. The leverage that's available to you from inside the vortex is extraordinary in compared to the effort that you offer from outside the vortex. You have a cooperative universe. This is the energy that creates worlds. This is the same energy that keeps your planet spinning in its orbit in perfect proximity to other planets. This is the same attention and interest and love that is available to you all day, every day. We know that we have conveyed with great persuasion the existence of the vortex, and we can feel your ownership of it. In other words, we know you get it intellectually. And today has been our favorite day ever of demonstrating how easy it is to get into the vortex, how easy it is to milk the vortex, and how easy it is to slip from it without even noticing that you have done it. In other words, you will never again move in and out of your vortex without being aware that you're moving in and out of your vortex. The question really is, how deliberate are you going to be about the moving into the vortex, and how aware are you going to be as you move out of the vortex? That's really what we want this conversation to have produced within you. The true power lies in the silence between the words and the vibrational rhythm between the thoughts and the ease between the effort and the peace between the trying. The true power is in the allowing.